Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'd like to be talking about what could possibly be added to the Kroot range that hasn't already been added. Obviously we're all super stoked on all the new models and we think they're all great, and I think overall everybody's pretty happy with all of them, with maybe just a few like very minor, not complaints, but things that we would have liked to see kind of thing. So like I said, with few exception, we're happy with all the stuff that we got. And one of the things we got was the ability to finally have some rules support to run an all Kroot army. We have a Kroot detachment, and we, with a little bit of work, can make an all Kroot army. Now, what does that all Kroot army look like right now? Well, we have a number of infantry sized characters, some small on foot characters who, while they have some cool rules and the models look great, they individually aren't hugely impactful in the course of a game. You're attaching these guys to a unit of carnivores or possibly farstalkers, which themselves are quite squishy and small, and these characters are also quite squishy and small. So we have some small characters. We have 2 units of infantry, carnivores and the farstalkers, which are both basically chaff. I don't want to call our Kroot boys chaff, but they're basically chaff. They're very low points and they're fairly low impact. As I've said in previous videos, I really, really wish with the farstalkers that could have been our dedicated Kroot special weapon squad. I hate that they gave us only one of each special weapon in there. I wish it could have been, even if it would have only been 5 guys, but they each got to have a big gun. I think that would have made them feel a lot more unique instead of just what they feel like to me, which is basically just carnivores with a different special weapon. Like how most infantry units can take like one heavy or special weapon, that's just what they feel like to me. I wish there would have been more of that, but that's beside this point. I'm going to get off on a tangent. We've got the hounds. We've got 2 flavors of Krootoks, the rampagers and the normal ones, and the Calamandra rider, the Kroot lone spear. So that is what we have right now for the Kroot army, and it's a lot of small and relatively fast things with almost nothing in the way of like tankiness or anti-tank. And so that is where we start to see the gaps in this range. And when they had initially shown off some Kroot models and then they promised, oh, this is only half of them, a lot of the speculation about what was coming would have been filling some of those gaps that are still there. So, as we all know, GW, they go to the tune of the money, okay? They go where the money is. Space Marines sell good. We get a lot of Space Marine models. I think these Kroot models were very popular with a lot of people. I heard a lot of people that don't even like Tau, didn't even have a Tau army, started one for the Kroot, basically. And I think most people that already collected Tau were happy to have some proper Kroot support for their army as well. Because auxiliaries, they're one of the coolest parts of the Tau, and we basically hardly had them up until this point. So it seems like the Kroot did quite well with their launch. So, in theory, that should mean that whether it's in 6 months, whether it's in a year, whether it's in 5 years, whether it's in 10 years, hopefully it's not that long, we could or should be getting some more Kroot models down the line. And that's basically what this video is going to be. It's just me kind of speculating on what I would like to see, what I think we could see, and what would make sense. Both from lore and gameplay reasons. And if you guys have any suggestions or any things that you can think of, please leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to see them. I'd love to see what you guys think about all this. So, to start off, there's some gaping omissions from the new Kroot releases that everybody thought was going to be there, or at least I thought was going to be there, because they're Kroot models that already existed, that were very, very popular. Everybody likes them. They've been a part of the Kroot range and lore since the very beginning. Anytime Kroot are shown in artwork and whatever, generally these guys are there. And that is your proper dinosaur-looking Kroot. These are the Narloks, the cavalry, and then of course the Great Narlock, which is the big one, the big dinosaur dodo bird looking dude. And these guys are just nowhere to be seen. And I just can't imagine a world where we don't get them back in some iteration, given how popular they were and that they were already a thing. So, but that leaves us with a little bit of a conundrum, because they've now turned the Krootoks into basically a heavy cavalry type unit. And that is previously what was occupied by the Narlock riders. They were a heavy cavalry, Kroot carnivores riding on top with their simple Kroot guns, and then they would charge in and, into melee and whatever. So if they were going to bring those back, what would that look like? Because they have to differentiate them a little bit, I think, or else it's just going to be like, well, why would you take these over the Krootoks cav? So right off the bat, the problem with the Krootoks cav, the only real problem with them is they're cavalry, so they're similar to a biker unit. They're very slow. They only move 7 inches. So I think it would help a lot if they're going to make a unit of cavalry of the Narlock riders, they got to make them faster. 10, 12 inch movement minimum. You could maybe make them a little bit squishier. Maybe they're only like 3 wounds. And they could even come in a unit of 5 instead of a unit of 3. Maybe make them a little less elite. And then maybe occupy a different role. Maybe they get bonuses versus large, like they're pack hunting like raptors. So if you got a unit of 3 or 6, or maybe they come in units of 5 or 10, they get a bonus versus large, or bonus versus heavier targets. Maybe they do mortal wounds or something when there's a pack of them ganging up on something like that. You could give the riders some wildly different weapons. Before they only had Kroot guns, you could give them some sort of anti-tank weapons. Or you could keep them small units, maybe make them, again, the Kroot don't need it, but they're specialized anti-infantry, whatever, and give them some spicier guns. So maybe they're better at killing hordes or something, and that could change them up a bit. You could also go a wildly different route, which I would love to see. Maybe make a Kroot chariot. Maybe instead of another cavalry unit, maybe it's only 2 or 3 of them pulling a chariot with some sort of a heavy gun mounted on the back. That could be really cool. We could get another character that's riding one, but again, then that's kind of just the Kroot Lone Spear again, so not super different. But yeah, I would really like to see those, and I'm shocked they didn't come back, but I get it, because then it would be like kind of clashing with the new Krootoks Rampagers. The Great Narlock, that presents a world of opportunities. So it's a big rampaging beast. In the past, it usually would have some Kroot crew riding on top with some heavy guns. I think that is great. I think we need to get that for sure, and that could be your dedicated anti-tank as well. Both the guns and the monster itself is big enough. It's like dreadnought size or a bit bigger, and it could threaten some large targets on its own for sure. But you could have some really wild options. Give it some real proper anti-tank guns, different than it had in the past. Maybe even a looted Tau railgun. And then this might be a little bit crazy, but what I was thinking is you could have different builds of it, as you did in the past. And you could have like the gun build, of course, and then you could give it like a howdah, and it could be a transport for the crew. It could transport a carnivore squad or a farstalker squad. Maybe they could shoot off its back. That would be super cool. And another thing that we never saw yet, but has always been kind of mentioned in the lore, is the concept of a master shaper. So in the release of the Kroot models, one other thing that we were missing was a real like centerpiece unit. Every army is going to have a centerpiece unit. Usually it's either a real big, like super heavy, or it's going to be some sort of like a really special big character. And if the character is not mounted on something, then they're big. And Kroot, generally, unless I'm making them, aren't that big. They are your infantry-sized kind of dudes. So unless they're going to do something really wild like I've done and make like a super giant jacked Kroot that's the leader, I was thinking that a centerpiece model for the Kroot is probably going to be mounted on some sort of a really special creature. And wouldn't it just be awesome if the Kroot Master Shaper was a build option for the Great Narlock? So we're talking a really special, decked out, super great Narlock, where maybe it's got, you know, some extra fancy like headgear. It's got some extra, you know, like decorations and stuff, some extra like ornamentation on it, and it's got some sort of an awesome like tribal throne, chair, maybe a sacrificing table, something awesome. And there's the Master Shaper riding on top of it, and maybe he's got like a crew of still of a small number of Kroot riding on the back, you know, 2 or 3 guys that can still shoot off it or whatever, and he's got some sort of a special weapon as well, of course, and that would be just like the most epic Kroot centerpiece in my opinion. Of course, he could also just be an entirely separate kit. You could still have the Great Narlock, and maybe it has the build option for the guns or the Howdah for transporting, and then there's a different one that's bigger and more special that builds the character version. I think that would be absolutely amazing and would be a huge success, of course. Now, it doesn't have to be a Great Narlock. It could be an entirely unheard of Kroot creature, or, as we found out from the new codex, the Kroot are very adept at taming all sorts of beasts that aren't even Kroot. So it could be any kind of crazy big alien creature, but I just think I would love to see that as a centerpiece model for the army. A large character model that is a Kroot Master Shaper riding on some big epic beast that he has controlled. So other than that, so we're talking, that takes care of a lot of the issues right there with the Kroot army, right? That gives you a couple big models, whether it be, you know, say like 2 or 3 of the gun Great Narlocks, 1 of the transport ones, maybe the character one, whatever. And that would fill out the army really well. But what more could we do? What more could we add? Well, how about a Kroot flyer? Kroot clearly have a lot of like avian-ish, bird-ish ancestry. You can look at things like the Kroot hawk, especially, and you see there's a lot of like bird-related things there. Yet the Kroot have no flyers. Well, in the lore, we have Kroot that have grown wings as a result of eating too many winged creatures. So you could have a Kroot infantry squad, and maybe this would be our more dedicated, elite Kroot infantry that I wanted the Farstalkers to be. I'm just going to keep harping on that. And maybe these ones come in a squad of 5 only. And they've got specialized weapons, or they're better in melee, or they're better at shooting. One or the two. Just pick one. They don't need to be, I don't need another just kind of okay at both. Give me a good anti-infantry gun, or, you know, maybe they've got talons or better melee weapons, and they swoop down and they can reliably kill like a 10-man guard squad or something. But I think that would be awesome. You could go big though. You could give them some sort of a mini Kroot war sphere if you want to go like the vehicle route, or a big flying creature, some sort of a giant Kroot bird, some sort of a giant Kroot bat. But I think feathers makes more sense. So like a giant Kroot hawk would be awesome. So I mean, that would, again, now we're talking, so now if we added all these things, right, so we've got some big models and maybe, you know, 2 flyers, or a flyer and a kind of jetpack-ish infantry, only their wings. The only other thing that's missing at this point would be a Titanic model to have like the full 40k army range. And again, we can look back at the recent lore, and they talk about the Kroot taming some truly colossal beasts that aren't necessarily of Kroot origin. So if they don't want to make a like colossal Narlock, a Titanic Narlock, like I did, they could go the route of making, again, some sort of a massive, awesome beast. It could be looking more like a dinosaur, like a giant like sauropod type thing that they got off of an Eldar Maiden World or whatever. It could be any number of things, right? Some sort of a giant bug, whatever. And just strapped with guns, strapped with Kroot guns. Maybe it has a transport capacity too. Some sort of a big Howdah. Maybe it's towing something, towing a bigger Kroot gun of some kind. I don't know, but obviously we would all love to see it. Whatever the Kroot could cook up that would count as a Titanic model, I'm sure would be absolutely epic. Something on the scale of, you know, an Imperial Knight, a Storm Surge, that sort of a thing. So yeah, that pretty much covers everything that's missing from an all Kroot army. I can sit here and come up with stuff for days, right? Let's talk about a Kroot sniper squad. Let's talk about a Kroot sniper character. Why the fuck was the Trail Shaper not a sniper character? I'm gonna go off on a tangent again. Let's talk about like I already said, a Kroot chariot, but what about a Kroot like gun emplacement? Like a big, like a 2-man sniper team that it's like a really big, like anti-vehicle sniper rifle meant to like punch holes in the thickest hides and the thickest vehicles from long range. The Kroot are epic hunters of beasts and stuff, yet they don't really have weapons for taking down these beasts. Let's talk about a Kroot honor guard squad that protects the Shapers and is like a genuine threat in melee. Maybe they've got shields and spears and actual armor. Let's talk about, like I said, a Kroot heavy weapon squad that all wields like the Skinner or the Lidoxy Triblast, I think is how you say it, from the Farstalker kit. There is infinite possibilities for Kroot that we can come up with here, ladies and gentlemen, but those first few are the ones that I really wanted to hone in on, because that is what I think would make a more complete looking Kroot army on the table. And I would just absolutely love to see it, and I hope I see it in my lifetime, but I'm not going to be too greedy, because I am super happy and excited about the stuff that we already had. I will probably have a video coming up pretty soon, just about the couple little things that I did with the Kroot box set with the new models. Kind of similar to what I did with the Leviathan Tyranids box set, where I just made a video where I showed all the little changes and kit bashes I did with all the new stuff. So look forward to that soon. Sorry it's been so long in between videos. You guys might not know, but it was the start of fishing season, so your boy's been a little distracted, a little bit busy, but I am back. We'll get back to a more like weekly video schedule, not these like almost 2-week gaps. So I apologize for that. And one more thing before I go, of course, as always, guys, you gotta check out the channel sponsor, Lord of Skulls. Don't skip the video before I finish the little ad segment here at the end. Truly, it is worth it for you to go and check this guy out, not only because he has super cool stuff, a conversion set to multiple conversion sets to turn Loyalist Terminators into Chaos ones. Not only does he have awesome Chaos spawn that actually look cool and not like a fucking Monsters Inc. character, not only does he have stuff to make Karn the Betrayer actually look like fucking menacing and big and awesome, and any number of other World Eaters things. The contest he is running right now, not even a contest, it's a giveaway. You can just enter the giveaway. Just you buy one thing and you're entered in the giveaway, I believe. You can check out his page for more details on that. He is giving away a real Forge World Warhound Titan, which will already be built and painted by him. So if you're someone who's like, oh, I literally will never buy myself a Titan because that is an insane amount of money and it's insanely hard to build and put together, don't worry. He's going to do it for you, and all you got to do to enter is buy one of his already cool things, which I have a discount for. So for my channel people, it's an even better deal. You just go buy one of his little things and you're entered for like one of the best Warhammer giveaways ever. I can't think of hardly any other time when people are giving away Titans. So yeah, go check that out. If there's anything at all that you think is cool from his store, it's worth it to check it out. Use my discount code, enter to win a Titan. Simple as that. That is all for now. Goodbye.